Human dignity is the basis for the principles of justice and equality. Reason without morality is blind. Morality without reason is empty. Act only on that maxim, through which you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. Freedom is the ability to obey the moral law within oneself. The measure of a society is how it protects the dignity of its weakest members. Ethics demands that we act not for the sake of reward, but for the sake of duty. Every individual has an inherent worth that cannot be reduced to a price. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Happiness is not the purpose of life. Virtue is. To respect another's dignity is to respect their autonomy. An action done from duty derives its moral worth from the principle by which it is determined. A man is free when he acts out of a sense of duty rather than compulsion. Moral freedom is the highest expression of the will. Justice requires that we treat everyone as having equal worth. It is impossible to conceive anything in the world, or even out of it, which can be taken as good without qualification, except a good will. The path to true fulfillment is paved with acts of integrity and honesty. The principles of reason are the same for all, binding humanity together in a shared moral fabric. Human dignity demands that freedom be used responsibly. Practical wisdom requires that we balance freedom with responsibility. The moral law commands categorically, without regard for personal desires or inclinations. Our worth lies in our ability to rise above mere instincts and act according to reason. Respect for the moral law is the basis of all virtue. To degrade another's dignity is to undermine our own humanity. The pursuit of truth and the adherence to moral law are inseparable. We are not merely rational beings, we are also moral agents. Every human being is an end in themselves, possessing inherent worth. The foundation of ethics is the recognition of the universal dignity of human beings. It is in the exercise of freedom that we discover the true purpose of our existence. True liberty is living by principles that respect the humanity in oneself and others. The moral worth of an action lies not in the outcome, but in the intention behind it. Reason unites freedom and necessity within the framework of moral action. A life of virtue is the highest form of human existence. The moral progress of humanity is the true measure of advancement. Every individual has a right to live in a way that respects their inherent dignity. The meaning of life is found in living in accordance with reason and virtue. The value of a good deed lies not in its usefulness, but in its adherence to moral law. Freedom is not the right to do what one wishes, but the power to act according to reason. The dignity of humanity rests in our capacity for self-reflection and self-governance. Ethics is not subjective. It is grounded in universal principles. To act morally is to act in such a way that one's actions could become universal laws. Wisdom is knowing the right principles and applying them faithfully. The essence of human dignity is the capacity to choose the good. Our ability to think and act morally makes us unique among all creatures. The hallmark of freedom is to act not according to inclinations, but to moral principles. Moral principles are not derived from experience, but from reason. Universal laws are the foundation of morality. The ultimate purpose of human existence is to live a life worthy of humanity. To be free is to be bound by nothing other than the laws we give to ourselves through reason. The rightness of an action does not depend on its consequences, but on its adherence to universal laws. Freedom is the faculty that makes laws its own. Human dignity is preserved when we act in ways that are true to our moral principles. Virtue is the strength to act in accordance with moral principles. Reason is the light that illuminates the path of righteousness. Humanity is distinguished by its ability to act according to moral principles. It is better to fail in a moral endeavor than to succeed through dishonorable means. Our greatest achievements are those that reflect our moral values. Moral actions are those that can be justified to all rational beings. Ethical behavior is the highest expression of human reason. Autonomy is the foundation of human dignity. To live morally is to live in harmony with the moral law within. The universality of moral law is what gives it its binding power. A person should never lie, not even to save another's life. Reason is the compass that guides moral action. Every advance in morality is a step toward human dignity. The practice of morality ennobles the human spirit. Human dignity requires that we treat others with fairness and compassion. Freedom without reason is mere license. Happiness is not about achieving pleasure, but about living a life worthy of it. It is our duty to cultivate the moral law within us. To live with dignity is to live with purpose and principle. True freedom is acting in accordance with the principles of reason. Justice forms the cornerstone of all ethical action. The recognition of human dignity forms the foundation of all ethical systems. The principles of justice must apply equally to all rational beings. Reason and morality are the foundation of a meaningful existence. The least deviation from moral law compromises the dignity of humanity. It is through our actions that we express the dignity of our humanity. True happiness can only be achieved through a life of ethical purpose. To act out of respect for the moral law is the essence of virtue. The freedom of the individual must always be reconciled with the freedom of others. Justice arises from respect for the rights of others. The moral law is the guide to a life well lived. Each person has an inherent dignity that commands respect. The pursuit of moral truth defines our humanity. Freedom is the precondition for the possibility of moral law. The moral world is one governed by reason and universal principles. Acting with integrity is the highest fulfillment of human potential. The foundation of ethics is the commitment to treat every person as an end in themselves. The meaning of freedom is found in living a life guided by ethical laws. The ability to act according to reason is what makes us truly human.